well, we reached the size limit. I didn't know my phone had a size limit. I thought it was unlimited. So we'll continue doing this. We'll pick it back up. So I had started adding the reishi and doing the coffee flushes, and still the higher nutritions and the juicing and whatnot. And at that point in time, when I added the reishi that night, I had it when I laid down, and it was a lot of pain. It literally had kicked up the immune system to such a place, and it's still in Japan used for treatment of cancer and other things. You can look that up, and in some parts of China, excuse me, the traditional Chinese medicine is still used, and reishi is a really big part. It has germanium in it, which is in the copper pipes and some other foods. And germanium is I used to get little tiny pills from allergy research, little tiny, very small milligram doses, and they were like $45. They were $1 something a piece. But it was the only thing that I felt better using as far as immune system builders, and I had tried everything and anything that I could get my hands on. So they were so expensive. So I found for like $22 I could get like half a pound of reishi directly from China off of eBay. And I had grinded some up in a blender into like those little magic bullets. I grinded some down into as much of a powder as possible, and I was taking that, and I took it that night, and my whole body was like, whoa, I could feel it literally starting to chew on the tumor between that and the other heightened things, and doing the detox to do the glutathione with the coffee flush and whatnot, and then the passive teas and whatnot to clean out all the debris. So around those 2010 that I did that, and so it was very painful, and the tumor was in between a lot of different things. It was everywhere. So I started breaking it down, and a lot of toxicity, and the things that came out were just unbelievable. So what I had to do for toxicity, and my liver, and I couldn't take any more medications at that time. I went and got milk thistle, a concentrate from, I forgot the name of I forgot the name of it. If you want to know, send me a message. And it's wicked. It helped a lot. The milk thistle. I had a lot of yellowing, where the liver and kidneys were just overtaxed, and there's so much die-off that they're just freaking out. It was just between that and their limited use at that point in time, they weren't at full function because the tumor was blocking a lot of the lines. And obviously there was enough to stay alive, determination, taking care of my mom and all that. So, and I hadn't really told this story up till now. It was really maybe another person that knows all the story, maybe two. And maybe, I'm not quite sure. Some of them would have to glean it. So I did a combination of the juicing. I did at least once a day, and then I would do the coffee flush once a day in the morning. And once all that was done, and that took a little while actually to make the coffee and do all these things, so usually like an hour and a half or something, and 2 hours could be burned up in the morning to get all that done and have breakfast and get to the day. And then I would just work and get things done for my mom, take care of things around the property and whatnot. And so I did that, and I did a coffee flush every single day for 3 years. So from 2011 till 2014 till earlier this year. So about 2 months ago, I was able to stop and slow down the coffee flushes, where I basically started doing just fresh water to clean out some of the toxicity of what was being chewed up and spit out. And let's see, that's about right. And so that was just a couple months ago. It is now October, so a couple months ago, 60 days ago, I started doing the fresh water, and now I haven't had to do any of it, maybe once every 10 days or a couple weeks. Last time I did a coffee flush was 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I still feel pretty good. I still need some sleep, but as I build my finances up, because I was just taking care of my mom, I wasn't really working, because as I was getting better, she was getting worse, and because she took care of me for so long, I wasn't going to abandon her and leave her there in the winter in the snow to do things all by herself. And so I promised myself, no matter what happened to me, that I would take care of her. You know, if we went down with the ship together, then so be it. So I basically stuck around, and I got her to the Vegas area from New York. She's shopping for houses. She's alive and happy. All is well with her. I was able to heal up the spider bites on her arm through a combination of DMSO and a aloe vera gel. And you put the aloe vera gel on there, and then a DMSO. It's a liniment of some sort. It's also can be considered a commercial cleaner, but there's an O3 in it, and a trioxygen molecule like there is in ozone, and when it touches water or a liquid type substance, my understanding is that it shoots off. And Olympic athletes, a lot of athletes use this for quick oxygenation of injuries so that they can go back out on and do whatever sport they're doing. If you put water or another liquid, it splits it off, and it takes the O3 element and makes it pure oxygen and puts it into the membranes, into the skin. So we use that to denature the spider bite, the brown recluse bite, and it healed up. And it was traveling down her arm, eating away. And then I did rehabilitation and stuff with that with her over the years, so she was doing better. But the spider bite took a lot out of her, and then age, who's in her late 60s. And definitely time to retire. So her and her partner finally came out to Vegas. We all came out, and they've been shopping for houses. And it's kind of synchronous in that, you know, a lot of other things for me, following your highest excitement and following a lot of the other things that can be done, are starting to manifest a lot of different windows and doors. I still have a tumor. It's still in there. It is sizably different than it was. I can tell considerably. You know, every once in a while there's some pain, or when it's breaking apart. But I have made my body effective enough, and I still do the juicing, and I still have the reishi every single day. And I'm building up more of the other supplements. I can't get all the ones that I had, but as I close out some contracts for some of the other things that I do, then I'm starting to rebuild all that. And then there's now that I've been doing videos, there's some other things that are starting to come up as well that are very interesting and along the line of my highest excitement. But I wanted to share this because that was 1996 that started, and so 6 or 7 years from there, not expected to live, and then it's now 2014, so I kept myself alive all that time. And I will also say that I titrated between late 2012 to right around, the middle of 2012 to the middle of 2013. I titrated off of all my medications that I have been taking since age 25, and that's 200 milligrams of beta blocker, the 20 milligrams of ACE inhibitors, and a variety of other ones. And titration means a little, little less, because your body freaks out if you just stop taking that stuff. It's relying on it. It's changing the enzymatic processes in your body, among other things that I can't even understand. And so a little bit less, and then check and monitor and make sure that blood pressure and everything's stable. So right now, as of a year ago, at the very least around a year ago, I take no medications. No blood pressure medication, nothing. And I'm fine. My blood pressure is fine, provided I eat along the line of a certain type of diet. I'm allergic to a lot of stuff, and it causes high inflammatory rates. And high inflammation can lead to to issues with blood pressure. You're constricting the body, you're constricting blood flow. Like the ACE plasma inhibitor is meant to open up your arterial lines and open up the blood flow. So being mindful of diet and detoxing and whatnot helps considerably. So through a combination of the traditional Chinese medicine and the coffee flush and accelerating glutathione on a daily basis, now there's things you can get that you don't have to do, like the coffee flushes, but it does make the gallbladder and the liver eject a lot of toxins out as well. At least that's my understanding. Now, this is the non-traditional medicine. The coffee flush can be found in old nursing journals from the 50s, 40s, and 50s as a suggestion when you don't know what to do with a client, with a patient. they suggest like an actual enema, and if that doesn't work, to do a coffee flush. And I don't think it's called a coffee flush, but it does have coffee, and it's held for as long as you can hold it, or for a certain duration. So that's, that was interesting, that it's kind of a lost art. It's something that wasn't, and it's also about detox. You're expelling all the things that are in there, that a lot of people that are sick, taking a lot of medications, peristalsis, the thing that makes the intestines eject and make you use the restroom, kind of breaks down, along sometimes, coinciding with diet and stuff like that. So this is 2014 October, and yes, I still have, it's broken down, it's getting closer and closer to being non-existent, and I would do coffee flush every day, but it just takes way too much time, and I look forward to actually getting into being able to do more Rife technology again. I find that the energy technologies work really well, and then you just need, a combination of the detox types of things, like Dr. Schultz has activated charcoal and bentonite and whatnot, all in, in flaxseed. I think there's flax seeds in there as well to help buffer and act as roughage to go through. Those are very good as, toxins are being dumped into the stomach. Some people will say that's not possible, that you're crazy, how could that actually even be possible, or how could you endure doing a coffee flush every goddamn day for 3 years? Like, well, again, I was taking care of my mom, and at that point it was kind of exciting in that I was getting better. I didn't feel like it some days, but I still feel better and better. I feel better than I have felt in almost since I can remember, because it was age 25, 26, I'm now 46. How did I get to be 20 years? Yeah, because it started around 95, so it's pretty close to 20 years. So you can survive pretty much anything. I actually told the doctors that I wasn't going to die because I was supposed to, especially with the number of arterial blockages that I had with the tumor blocking different things. I said, I'm not going to die because I'm taking care of my mom, and that's the way it is. That's why I keep coming to see you. Like, well, I didn't expect you to come back and see me. Well, one doctor had the respect to tell me that I didn't expect for you to come back and see me because I didn't think you'd be alive. He didn't say it that way, but he did say I didn't expect to see you again, just as to say, hey, I guess you weren't kidding that you were going to stay alive. And I will say manifestation around 2000. There was a time in there, it's very fuzzy, photographic memory, but those times are very, very, very fuzzy, that I just started to sit for 15 minutes a day and say, heal. This is before I talked to my friend who's a dentist and made the recommendation for the naturopath. I also test out all of my pot and all the things that go along with it. And just one day I'm like, something said that it's time to stop and to get better. And that would be the higher self, by the way. And I'm like, I'm kind of tired of this type of existence, and it is really boring. And, not knowing if you're going to live or die every day gets a little tiresome after a while. Viktor Frankl talks about this, your naked self, that you fully realize yourself, and he had gone through the Holocaust and survived, and he was a doctor, a physician, so they had him taking care of a lot of the people that needed to be taken care of, so he saw a lot of crazy things. And there's a certain point where you just realize that you have all there is you have no possessions or anything, and I really didn't have anything. Laptop and a phone and some clothes, and that's still the case now, that I have a laptop and I have a phone and I have some clothes and I have a few things, some other clothes and a few other things, but maybe like 3 or 4 boxes, five boxes, I think aggregately I have 5 boxes of stuff in storage, and that's it. And everything else I had either sold to survive off of, and to buy things, whether it be medications to keep things stable, or eventually it was nutrition to keep things stable. There was a point in time where I had to decide to keep my insurance or go with the nutrition, because one was working better, and I dropped my insurance. And I had to tell you that it was epic in price, because of the cancer when I was a child, that it was way over 50% what a normal insurance policy would be. Like, for instance, I was 30 something and my insurance was $800, $900 for one of the lower end ones, PPO. That was and it was changing to like a 40%, 60%. And at that point, since I was really only getting medications and seeing doctors a couple times a year, it really didn't make sense. And I'm like, do I spend that on the doctors that did nothing but give me medications and kind of make things worse? Or do I spend it on the nutrition, which I have a good feeling is helping and that I'm seeing results from? And, you know, that's a lot of money that I could use to get things done. So I chose. So I actually, you know, at some point in there, I think it was around 2008, something like that. I paid 2007, yeah, around there, that I could see that it was working. And I dropped the insurance and just went for nutrition and went, hey, you know, I'm still alive, I'm going, and actually I'm starting to feel better. And then there's some of these other ideas of, like, now doing a coffee flush, taking 2 hours out of your life at least on a daily basis for 3 years. And, you know, there was maybe a few days a year that I didn't do it. Maybe like, say, 5 out of those. So there was, like, I did 1,000-something coffee flushes over a 3-year span. Yeah, and I think aggregately over my life, I might hit the 2,000 marker, or 50, at least 1,500 over the years since 2008 when I started. And let me tell you, it does, at least in my case, you know, call it psychological, but I don't think psychological will aggregate down to titrating off your medications. You know, when you add the combination of nutrition, monitoring your pHs and making sure you know where your pHs are, your food sources for organic, adding traditional Chinese medicine along with that, and herbologist that kind of guide you through that, and naturopath to be able to bounce ideas off and check and get monitored, because I did go back and do that. You know, I do go back and do dark fields and check my blood and make tweaks as they are needed. And, you know, that's, I mean, traditional, regular medicine does have its place, and I think it's very useful. I dislocated my elbow riding my bike down at the beach, and let me tell you, I did want to go see the doctor and go get that done. I think a lot of the alternatives, though, if you are an open-minded person, there's a lot of interesting things there for pain management and some other things that can be done. Now, there are some physical things that need to be tended to, and doctors need to be tended to. I'm not saying don't go to the doctor. You know, doctors are very good things. I've seen them since I was a kid. You know, they have been very helpful for many things in my life. But on this occasion, it was nutrition, and it was a naturopath that caught what was going on and was the rectifying force for the guidance to where to go. Obviously, I did everything myself. Naturopath didn't do anything. You know, he didn't say, go do this. Or he didn't do it for me. I did it. He was a guide. And as a guide, I followed his advice, and I got better. And I did that with all the doctors, and I didn't get better. All I was doing is progressively getting worse, and getting things that were, you know, higher toxifications, and the medications are crazy on pH and your metabolism and the liver and everybody. You know, it's taking, I figured out at one point in time, even the thyroid medications when I didn't need them, over 200,000 milligrams a year, 20 grams or something like that, or 200 grams. Some insane amount, since I'm a numbers nut. I grinded it out one time, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Taking a bag in you know, a year, like a bag full of medications. I'm like, that can't be good. And you know, that was before I even see the naturopath. So I know this timeline's a little funny, and it kind of bounces around just a little bit, but in brief, so 95, 94, 95, starting to have slight breathing problems, fatigue, you know, that progressed for a long time, left work in 98, and went cancer like 2002, and more extreme oxygenation, needing oxygen to fly, very dull amount of senses in between 2002 and like 2005, 2006 before I saw the naturopath. But medications just kept, getting higher and higher and higher to a point where there was just no way to have any. They're ineffectual, plus they're extraordinarily dangerous to the liver and kidneys, and we were doing everything to already try to keep them stable. I mean, we could see they're okay, but they weren't happy. And the one BQ scan had damaged them a little bit too. Just the passive radiation one that I had, just to do an imaging scan, had messed with them. They could see. So 2006, naturopath, nutrition, some suggestions, feeling a little better. 2007, a little better. Started doing the more aggressive detoxing, the coffee flushes, better and better. And 2008, all like marijuana and whatnot I didn't need it anymore. I didn't have as much medications I needed to take. It wasn't, it wasn't necessary, because it wasn't something that I didn't dislike it. When you're high, you don't dislike anything, as you might imagine if you've ever been high. But you're also not completely here when you're high every day. It's like having a drink every day. It is what it is. Your neurology is altered a little bit. So not needing to get high anymore, tossed all that crap out. 2008, including the marijuana. I was like, I'm a very absolute type of person. It's like, done with you, out you go. If I need you, then I'll work out a way to get some more of you. And so 2009, 2010, feeling a little better, still, not able to inhibit, really break down the tumor that's left over, cancer, whatever you want to call it. It's a combination of crazy things at that point in time. And to 2011, I started doing the more aggressive detoxing and adding the reishi. So when I added the reishi, there was so much die-off, so much breaking up in there, everywhere, unilaterally, instantaneously, that I started doing the coffee flushes, if nothing else, to cleanse I had to cleanse I had to. It was just no choice. Death was on the line. I had no choice. I had to clean out the bowels and do glutathione acceleration to get the liver more efficient. And it purifies the liver out, so it allows it to continue doing what it's supposed to do. No liver, game over. And the kidneys were overburdened. Everybody was unhappy. And so constantly cleaning things out, constantly taking activated charcoal and bentonite to grab all the toxins that were out. Matter of fact, I'd wake up and, really, really, really feeling Herxheimer and not feeling well at all. And I'd take some, and I would, I'd feel better in like half an hour and be able to go to bed. And a lot of pain from breaking it down. Sometimes it was just, up all night, and then eventually probably going to sleep, passing out because of exhaustion. But I still get up and do things for my mom and get things done, whatever needed to be done. If I had to shovel snow for 3 hours, I shovel snow for 3 hours. Great exercise, by the way. Full body workout, let me tell you. Or if I needed to go and move things around on the property or clean things or do whatever needed to be done, so she didn't have to go outside and do it in the extreme heat or the extreme cold. So no worries. I wouldn't have been there if she hadn't been kind enough to keep an eye on me, because even though I was keeping an eye on her, she was just as equally keeping an eye on me and allowing for an environment, because I lived with her, that was very low cost. So, I could buy food and stuff like that, but, living expenses were low where we were. So between 2011 and 2013, a little bit. The first year was hell, and then a little better, and then 2013 was much better, clearing up, and started titrating off the medications. 2013, 2012, middle 2012, 2013, right in there, I started titrating down. I started feeling a little better and doing a lot of the detoxing, spending all my money basically on the detoxing and nutrition, and building up some kind of infrastructure for other things, and started a foundation that I'm speaking to you now on, September 2013, and now that it's October of 2014, the last couple months, no coffee flushes, or one or two maybe, and then no fresh water. I still take the activated bentonite and charcoal and the combination from Dr. Schultz. But I take that like in the morning with 8 ounces of water just as a cleanse, and but I don't have to take it as aggressively as I used to. And skin is cleared up. Still a couple little spots here and there, but this is very clear. The skin is cleared up. It's It's looking much better. I feel much better. I have energy. I no way I could have spoke for almost an hour aggregately between these two videos. So better and better and better and better and better and better, and through this process, finding some of the other information that I found that's on the foundation on manifestation and why I chose to go through that process, because everything is by choice. You know, I did this to me. This is my universe, and you're not a victim. This is a reality. This is your universe, and you in it, and you're making all representations, all other energy representations in it. Everybody in it is a reflection. It is your universe. There's nobody else in it. They're there as a symbol, as an agreement. So it's not happening to you, it's happening by you. So I did this, and I've come to terms with that. And it's kind of exciting that I gave myself such a challenge. If you are an immortal being in a timeless reality, and everything is forever, you would have to come up with things to do, like you would want to read a book. And why not forget who and what you are and go to a density state, a third density state, and have an experience that you can never have anywhere else. In my understanding, in the construct and space of time, this is the unique and the most highly focused place in space and time is right now. Well, there is only now, but in our architectural construct of space and time, this is the most exciting place to be. And I gave myself some exceptional challenges through this process. And there was also a time somewhere in there, I think it was 2005, where I had a timeless state and I had a choice. It wasn't the light, go into the light, or there wasn't the darkness, it was nothing. It was just a void. No things, no sound. It's just I knew I had a choice. Do you want to keep playing and doing this game, or do you want to stop and move on? And I chose to continue. I was like, oh. And there wasn't any conscious whys or anything. It was just, here's your choice. Here's a junction. Split off into a particular reality. So there's a lot of information I covered here. Getting up on an hour aggregately for this thing, I could probably talk forever. But that gives you a pretty concise consensus or aggregate brief of that journey. There's a lot of detail in there. Excuse me. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Skepticism, hey, that's fine. I understand. It would sound crazy to me as well that would even be possible, especially considering what most of us know. But a lot of people do know, and I know other people who have rectified circumstances that seemed impossible through detoxing and nutrition. Imagine that. And the fact that they have a low nutritional state to begin with is generally the reason why they have the issues. So it is a paradox. If you were already taking care of yourself, you generally wouldn't have had those issues. So I hope that was helpful for you. If you're hurting, or if you're in pain, or if there's something that doesn't seem like it can be done, anything can be done. This is your universe, and you make the rules, and now they're even more flexible than they've ever been. I'm not saying don't go to the doctor. I'm not saying don't take care of yourself. I'm not saying don't take your medications. All that stuff should be supervised. What I am saying is that be open-minded. Seek other types of things, look and examine things and try them in a way that would be, integrate them into what you're doing now to see how they work for you. And speak to other people that have done these types of things, and maybe speak to a naturopath and go see him or her and see how you feel about that process. And try nutrition and work with your doctor on those things if that's what you feel you need to do. And that's what I would say, and that's what I would leave you with. And I hope that was helpful for you, because that's the first time I've actually shared it in its completion, and nobody knows that whole story. And I'm going to willingly share it with the world. And I think that feels like everything that needs to be shared. Thank you very much. Love and light. May you be well.